Hey, do you remember the broken TV from part 1? No? Let me refresh your memory. Do you see the broken TV? Ah, there it is. Notice the particle emitting from the top of the TV. How did I do that? Let's watch Zombie Barbecue Party Part 2. Oh, Ray, me, fa, so. Oh, okay, I can't sing. Well, I never could sing, but I do know a lot about killer time frames. So let's look over here at Rocky T, and we're going to look at start and end frames, but before we do that, let's choose 3 particles to add to our prop. Let's choose jet, puff, and then maybe, no, not that one, yeah, this one, basic 02. Okay, so let's go to modify and make sure it's basic 02, and we want to link it to Rocky T. Okay, and we need to do the same for jet, link it also to Rocky T. Where's Rocky T? There's Rocky T. And we need to do one more time for puff. Make sure it's linked to Rocky T. There we go. Okay, so let's play this and watch what happens. Okay, we got my jet particle jetting, my puff particle puffing, and my basic particle basicing. But it's a total mess, a complete mess. So we're going to do something else. So make sure our emitter is puff. Let's go down to under emitter settings and look for start frame. And let's turn off repeat because we don't want the puff particle to keep puffing throughout the entire scene. So let's change the start frame to 1 and the end frame to 70. So when we get to the time frame of 70, the puff particle will stop. Now we need to do the same thing with jet. Where's jet? Yep. Scroll back down here, find the start frames and change from start frame 1 to start frame 80. Change the end frame to, what do you say, 130? Okay. And we scroll right back up here again. And we need to look for the basic 02 and do the same. Now I hope I'm not getting you guys car sick by going up and down with my scrolling. Alright, back under emitter settings. Turn off repeat, change the start frame to, the end frame to 180 and the start frame to 130. Alright, so let's watch what happens. Puff, jet, and basic. Alright, fantastic. Okay, so let's move on and take a look at quota. How many somethings a something can have. Right? But before we get into quota, let's go over a real quick lesson again about size. Change the end width to 5, the height to 5. That way we have a better look at what we're doing with quota. Okay, so right now quota is set at 600 and the emit rate is 40. Now when I change the quota to 100, notice what happens to the particle. Ooh, nothing much, because the emit rate is still 40 per second, but the quota is 100. But if we change the quota to 40, notice that we emit 40 particles per second, but the quota at 40 means that all the particles must die first before that more can be emitted at 40 per second. So let's change the emit rate to 1 so you can see this. Even though the quota is at 40, you can see that the emit rate is still 1 per second, so we only have one little particle being popped out the top of Rocky T. So let's change that back to 40 and watch what happens. Okay, so let's look at Spread and his friends. Okay, so let's get a better view here of Rocky T and my particle. And let's look down here at, where is it? Spread. Okay, so let's increase spread and watch what happens. Okay, as you see, when spread increases, you notice that the particle is being shot out more like a spray. It's not changing the emit volume, it's just changing the direction in which it comes out of the prop. We can also do the same with diagonal. Now diagonal and spread together makes more of a funnel shape or a cone shape. Actually you can't really see it. Can you see it well that way? Maybe if I change the spread and diagonal. Yeah, let me change the spread and diagonal to 45. It'll be easier to see. 45, change the spread to 45. Alright, so it should look more like a tornado, like a funnel shape. See how it's a funnel shape on this side and this side? Alright. Okay, so let's get back down here and take a look at directional randomness. And let's set it at 200. Okay, notice when the particles come out of the prop, they come up and then they start to go off in random directions. Kind of like sparks coming out of a campfire. So that's what direction randomness is. Okay, so let's look at the last part, velocity. Right, velocity is currently at 800. Let's change it to 10 and watch what happens. Okay, now our particle has this drippity drip 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 effect. Now watch what happens when we change the velocity to 400. Now it's being shot out, but the gravity is still so much that it pulls the particle right back down. So you get the spray kind of effect. Now let's change the velocity to 2000 and boom! launch them right off into outer space. Bye-bye, particles. Make sure you play around with particle settings to get the special effects you're looking for. And most importantly, have fun.